So please tell us a little bit about the EU SME office and the help that a Swedish SME can get from you.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here today, and I'm a colleague with Ove, who knows a lot about applying for EU funding. So before we begin, I would like to ask you, how many of you represent today a small and medium-sized company?
That's nice.
It's very good. And how many of you have ever been involved in an EU project? Good. So we are here for you today, for the small and medium-sized enterprises. And as was just mentioned now, the EU SME Support Office was initiated by VINNOVA together with the Swedish Agency for Regional Growth to support small and medium-sized companies in applying for Horizon 2020 as well as Eurostar projects. And the EU SME Support Office, it's free of charge. And what we do, we come to gatherings and meetings such as this one to present to you how you can get support from the office. We can also provide with identification of different funding opportunities, also to find the different proposals. We also have some specific training activities that also the companies can attend to. Here are all the partners within the EU SME Support Office. As you can see, it's the Technological Research Institute. I'm not sure about the name in English for SP. We have Acreo, Swedish ICT, as you can see, Swerea, Inventia, Sweden Bio, LTU Business, VINNOVA, and IVL, Swedish Environmental Research Institute, as well as Enterprise Europe Network. So we cover the whole Sweden, and we also cover all the thematic different areas.
Yes.
Is there something that you would like to add to my presentation?
Yeah, maybe just you can see that where's the asterisk, that these are the partners which are at the same time active as Enterprise Europe Network partners. So yeah, and not of course all of us are familiar with all thematic areas. I mean, IVL is within the environmental area, resource efficiency materials, resource efficiency, so on. And SP, ICT, you have Acreo and so on. So within that we cover, with the different partners, we cover the different areas. But it's again, if you come to EU SME support, then we will guide you to the right persons. Hopefully to the right persons. So a little bit more what we can do within the process. This arrow shows you a little bit the timeline, or from a first idea, how to come to actually to close a project, not only to writing a proposal, but also to get a proposal and to perform a project. So the first step is that you have, of course, an idea, and you want to say, okay, well, what can I do? What could I do? Then you might attend information like this one today. You can see, okay, well, okay, this is interesting. What are different topics? Then you could already there ask us to identify what is possible. Where this is my idea, I want to do that. Are there any open calls which fit my idea? And then, as we heard, for example, the EU SME instrument. This is broad, so there is more the well, it can be a little bit restricted, but in general it's very broad. So you have basically a bottom-up approach that you can come with your idea, and if it fits into the very broad area, you can bring it to a proposal. As it regards specific calls, like the ones we have heard about earlier today, this is more specific, and then you really have to fit in with your idea, and you have also to have a consortium with a number of partners. But this is something where we can help you. We can have meetings with you, discuss your project idea, find us is there available financing within the Horizon 2020 and the Eurostars. Then if there's a decision to say, yes, that's good, that will be work, we go, like, let's say for an EU SME instrument, you should do a proposal. Then it's up to, of course, to you as an SME to make the decision. Well, yeah, okay, we want to do this. We will have the capacity to write, and we will also have the capacity, once we get the money, we will have the capacity to perform the project. So then you might make the decision, yes, we want to apply. Then there are a number of things to think about. There is a little bit administration as well. Actually, this one got a lot easier. As you mentioned before, when we started in FP5, 6, well, during 7 it even it got a little bit more simple. But now it's mostly electronic. But you have to register there, of course. You have to have a PIC code. I don't know what's personal identification code now. Participant identification code, a specific number for each organization, at least it is. So you have to register. This will take some time. Then you have the PP is the participant portal. So that's always electronically, where you send in your proposals. And we could give you some advice on, well, there you can find information. This is the way how you register, and so on and so on. What we also can do is then when you develop your proposal, again, as I mentioned, or as you mentioned as well, that we have different thematic areas which we are covering. We could also read your application and give advice on it. What we are not doing, and this is also quite important, we are not doing the writing. So the writing is with you. But we can give you advice to say that, well, you should emphasize this a little bit more, or you're lacking information on that one, and so on and so on. So still help you to answer all the questions that are asked for in the proposal. But the idea and the content, that this has to come from you. Then hopefully you get approved. Then there are agreements to make. The consortium agreement you made, and we have also very good experience from the DESCA model. I think this was a very good one that EU came up with to really, there's a raw model for consortium agreement, which you can then adapt to your own needs. So but advice during contract negotiations, contract writing, consortium agreement, and so on. We can help you with this to make it a little bit easier. Then you will start the project. And during the project, you have to make the reporting, you have to make follow-ups and so on, and we can help you with that as well to see, well, how do I do the reporting? If something which is not, if you're not familiar with it, there might be some questions that come up, and we can help you with that as well. And then hopefully you will successfully end your project, and after that there might also come an audit afterwards. And I'm actually not sure if we help with that. I think this is more up to the professionals for that.
No, actually you do.
Oh, we do, yeah.
Yes.
And it's not IVL who does this, I would say.
We've already had actually the EU SME office help a company with
that's
an
good.
Audit from FP7.
That's good. So
yes.
that's our colleagues.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a limit. Why should you bother about EU projects? I mean, sometimes there are national financing available. You mentioned earlier that VINNOVA has money, Formas has money. When we talk to companies, it's quite often actually the lower part it's that you make new friends. You get out into the European market. That is for many companies an idea, and you have access to a much broader knowledge which you have in Sweden. Sometimes you have very, very good knowledge in Sweden. Then of course you should use it. But very often it's well, you need a specific knowledge to help the development of your product, for example, and you find it in France or whatever. Then it's good to make it outside to help to get this help. But of course, you need support for developing your products to make the money, and it's also a way of risk sharing. Yeah, so that's a little bit repetition then. Start the process in good time. I think you mentioned it also very well. If you really want to establish something, it takes some time to do so. This is also from experience. There are sometimes also drafts for the different calls which are available, but you should make sure that you of course use the actual one, the final one. And then a little bit what I mentioned with the do's and don'ts. You should participate in the project when it really fits you. If you're reluctant and say, well, maybe it could fit, then you should really consider if it's worth it, because it's some effort to write these proposals, and the success rate is not too high. Well, you can do things in order to increase your success rate, of course, but you should really consider, yeah, if it really fits, then it will also help actually to improve the success rate. Keep it simple and logical, because then it will also be easier to tell in the proposal what you're going to do and what you want to achieve. And well, let a colleague, of course, is also very good with the English proofreading, but also from content-wise, from the things you want to do. It's also good if you have somebody who is slightly involved, but not totally involved, to have the view from another angle to see, well, yeah, that fits, that just looks really good, it is convincing, and so on. And of course, here's our contact, eusme@re.se.
I would just like to add that this is so new, so we don't have a website yet, but we're working on that. And once it's published, I think we will also provide the link to it at Vinnova's webpage, as well as the Swedish Energy Agency for Regional Growth, Tillväxtverket.
Yeah. So this is the easiest way to contact us, and then we will try to find the right person for you to help you. Thank you.
We will be here outside if you want to talk
Yes.
to us afterwards.
And we didn't say that, actually, or did we say that it was our colleague Fredrik who is supposed to be here? Did you say that in the beginning?
No, I didn't say
Yeah.
that. So I was not supposed to be here, but I'm glad to be here today.
Yeah, and I was supposed to be here, but not...
We can call you Fredrik, I hope.
So
Yeah.
you can call me Fredrik when you talk to me
Well,
later. Yes.
if you want to hand this to Fredrik or keep it to
No,
yourself.
I think I'll keep it to myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
But
much for being here,
Fredrik is
Hanna.
from
Yeah.
Gothenburg.
Thank
He would
you.
need it much more, I think.
Yes, that's true. You can lend it to him when he goes back
Yes.
home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Ove and
Yeah, thank
Hanna. And just to add something, I think it's also important for those of you who represent the academic sector, the research sector. Sometimes as an academic partner or a research institute, you say, I need an SME for my project. Don't hesitate to contact the EU SME office. They also provide links to the really excellent Swedish SMEs, because we do see that a lot of academic Swedish partners go out into Europe looking for SMEs. Nothing wrong with that. There are excellent Spanish SMEs, etc. But there are also some really good partners locally.
True.
So don't hesitate to contact them.
Yeah.
Do we have a question for Ove and Hanna?
A lot of questions, but I know SMEs, it's always difficult to get them on board of a project. Do you recommend branch organizations to be the ones carrying a project, and then they spread the messages to SMEs? Yeah, I think you had one in your, or was it you, the competence center in, that's a branch organization. So, but how is that one working with SMEs underneath? Because they're not a partner, and they should be partner, I guess. So this is a bit a problem, I think, because I prefer to work with a branch organization because it's wider, but they can't invite SMEs inside later on. So how do you deal with that?
I think that would a little bit come back to my former presentation. You have to have the clear roles. And if it's more the role of a branch organization which you need in your project, then yes, use the branch organization. If it's more single SMEs, then you should go for the single SMEs. And it's true for some SME, but there are also a lot of SME who are experienced and do this. And then, well, another experiences which I have from project is, yeah, even if you have SMEs which do not know too much about European projects from the beginning, Well, yes, you have maybe have a little bit buffer because you have to plan for a little bit more guidance for them to that EU stuff on the reporting and so on. But I mean, they know what they want to do. They have the technical competence usually, or if it's the ones who will implement, they know what they want to get. So I think it's not actually a big problem to have the SMEs. But if they're not experienced, you might have to have a little bit more buffer in order to guide them.
One comment. In our case, it was the branch organization plus SMEs.
Yeah.
So, and we had better access to these via the branch organization. Yeah.
Thank you so much again.